This question from Chapter 6 says the difference between the present value of an ordinary annuity with payments of $100 per year at 10% compounded annually for 10 years and an annuity due with payments of $100 per year at 10% compounded annually for 10 years is. So we want to find the present value of these two different annuities and just see what the difference is. Two different ways we can go about this. One, let's start with a conceptual side on just what these things look like. Let's map out these cash flows. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So for the ordinary annuity, that means the payments happen at the end of the period. So the first $100 cash flow is at the 1 tick mark, and then we get a payment every year out to year 10. All right, so if we wanted to find the present value of this, we just take each one of these cash flows and discount it back to time period $0, which we could do. Let's compare this now with the annuity due, though. And the only difference here is the timing of the cash flows. We get the same 10 cash flows of $100, but with the annuity due, the cash flows start at the beginning of the period instead of the end. Since we're just looking for the difference between these two cash flows, all we need to, oops, sorry about that, there is not a cash flow at the end of the timeline there. You get the 10th cash flow at the beginning of the 10th year, which is at the 9th tick mark. Since we're just looking for the difference between the present value of these two cash flows, we only need to worry about the cash flows that are different. The ones that are the same, if we were to look at, well, they're the same. If we're going to subtract the present value of one from the present value of the other, a lot of these are going to cancel out. So the present value of the cash flows at the end of year 1 would cancel out. They're going to be exactly the same. Same for end of year 2, end of year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and so on. So the only difference in the present value of these two cash flow streams is going to come from the differences in the present value of those two cash flows. So let's look at just the present value of those specific cash flows. So let's do the ordinary annuity first. We're going to find the present value of this $100 at the end of year 10, where we're going to use the formula present value equals future value over 1 plus r to the n. For the ordinary annuity, that is 100 over 1 plus, our interest rate is 10%, expressed as a decimal is 0.1. So 100 divided by 1.1 raised to the 10th is, I'm going to type it into the calculator here, 38.5543, roughly. Okay, now that's just the present value of the very last cash flow. I'm going to look at the annuity due using the same formula. But now we're looking at the cash flow that happens at time period 0. Well, that happens at time period 0, so it's already in time period $0. We could still plug it in just for the sake of argument. It's raised to the 0 since it happens right now. Anything raised to the 0 is 1, so that's 100 divided by 1 equals 100. Okay. So we've got the non-matched cash flow and the annuity due. The present value of it is exactly $100 because it happens at time period 0. We do not get that with the ordinary annuity. But the extra $100 cash flow that we get in the ordinary annuity, well, it's not an extra, just the timing is different. That we get at the end of year 10, the present value of that is $38.55 roughly. So those two cash flows are the only difference. So the annuity due is more valuable in terms of present value, and to figure out how much more valuable, we can take the present value of the annuity due minus, well, of the one cash flow from the annuity due, minus the present value of the one cash flow from the ordinary annuity. I hit 61.45 roughly. So the annuity due in terms of present value is worth $61.45 more than the ordinary annuity. And that's worth knowing just in general for ordinary annuities and annuity due. If you're looking at the present value, the annuity due is going to be more valuable because you get the same cash flows, but you receive them sooner. So there's less discounting happening. Same is true for the future value. Because you're getting the cash flows sooner on an ordinary annuity, you have one extra compounding period working for you on annuity due. So both the present value and the future value are higher with the annuity due. Okay, the other way we could do this would be to use the financial calculator. Calculate the present value of each of these and look at the difference. Just let me plug my calculator in here so we can do that. See if I can get both these on the screen at the same time. All right, now the inputs for these two are going to be exactly the same with the time value keys, where the total number of payments is 10, the interest rate per year is 10%, present value is what we're looking for, payment is 100, and future value is 0. Not because the future value is 0, but because we're solving for present value. So on the payment key and the future value key, what we enter there are the actual cash flows that happen on the timeline. And there's no additional payment at the end of the timeline over and above the actual payments that we've already recorded on the payment key. So let's start by calculating the full present value of the ordinary annuity, because my calculator is already in end mode. So I don't need to adjust anything. All right, so 10 is in. 10 for I over Y. Present value is what I'm solving for, so I'm going to skip over it. 100 is my payment, and 0 is future value. If I hit compute present value, okay, I'm going to get a total present value of the ordinary annuity of $614.46. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing for the annuity due. The settings are exactly the same, or rather the entries are exactly the same. But now I need to set my calculator to annuity due mode or beginning mode. And the way I do that is by hitting the second key and then BGN, which is right above the payment key. And the way I toggle, right now it's in end mode. The way I toggle it to begin mode is by hitting second and set. And now you can see BGN on there, and it also puts BGN in the top right corner when I clear out of that. And that's a big flag telling me that the calculator is assuming annuity due or payments at the beginning of the period now, which is not normal. Those are a little weird to work with, which is why it shows those settings. All right, now all my inputs are already there. If I hit recall in, I can see the 10, recall I over Y, it's all there. So I'm just going to hit compute present value again. No, we got a problem. Let me check the rest of my settings. Oh, cleared some out. Hold on. 100 for payment, 0 for future value. All right, now compute present value. There we go. Okay, so now we're getting a present value of 675.90. All right, now those came back as negative because we put the payment in as positive. That's just keeping track of the direction of the cash flows. We can drop those negatives if we want to look at differences. Let's look at the present value of the annuity due minus the ordinary annuity, or $675.90 minus 614.45. 0.46. And we're going to get the same $61.44. So either way, it'll get you to the same answer. It just depends on which way you are more comfortable with.